The race for places in the end-of-season Top 8 Premiership features on Sunday night's Big League. Castleford visit Hull. Old Trafford on a sunny day in May beckons. All the action coming up from the Boulevard. The black and whites of Hull now have a touch of purple in their jerseys too, and it's generally been an up-and-down season so far. But 2 weeks ago on Sky, Widnes felt the full force of a Humberside gale. The Aussie, Scott Gale, helped himself to 2 tries as Hull won easily. The most flamboyant star of the 80s down under, settling in nicely. Castleford have led Yorkshire's charge in the Big League all season, but after their setback against Warrington last Friday, will now look to the Challenge Cup again as their best chance of silverware. Beaten Wembley finalists in '92, they have one of the finest players in the world in Kiwi Richie Blackmore, who has all the strength and pace to cause any side problems. So it's the black and white and purple of Hull against the black, white and yellow of Castleford as the push begins for a place in the Top 8 Premiership. Who will win? Find out right here on Sunday night's Big League. Hull were beaten by local rivals Hulkingston Rovers in the Humberside derby in midweek. They have now dropped to 8th place in the Big League table. They must get back to winning ways soon. This is the side they hope will do just that today. Richard Gay is the fullback. Paul Eastwood is on the wing, the Great Britain international. It's all change elsewhere in the Hull side. Gary Nolan is in the centre, alongside James Grant. And youngster, 19-year-old Scott Sullivan comes in on the wing. It's only his second match. Scott Gale is the standoff half. He's in 6. There's no Ivan Henjak this week. He pulled a hamstring in training yesterday. His place goes to Rob Nolan. Up front, Andy Dannett with 3 test caps to his credit is the prop forward in 8. 11 international caps for Lee Jackson, the hooker, in 9. And the Welshman Mark Jones completes the front row, the prop forward wearing 10. Danny Dive, the Frenchman, on a month's trial here at the Boulevards in the second row, alongside Russ Walker, the club captain. And the side is completed by Steve McNamara, back now after a 4-match ban. And the coach, the Australian, in his first season in the Big League, Royce Simmons. Castleford, 3 games without a win now, but 5 straight wins earlier in the season shows exactly what they are capable of in the Big League. They currently lie 4th in the table. Good spirits in that dressing room. Graham Steadman is the full-back. On the wing, it's Richie Blackmore. He's played there for his country, New Zealand. It's his first match, though, in 2 for Castleford. St John Ellis moves inside to the centre. Tony Smith is alongside him, leading scorer with 16 tries. And Simon Middleton returns to the side. He is on the wing in 5 now. Peter Coyne is the standoff half, the man from St George, wearing 6. Mike Ford is his scrum half partner in 7. Castleford skipper Lee Crooks is the prop forward in 8. Graham Southernwood comes into the side for his first match since September. Southernwood the hooker in 9. Martin Kettridge moves up to the front row. He's the prop forward in 10. Tony Morrison has been ever present in the second row for Castleford all season. And the new man, Andy Fisher, who moved to here from Featherstone, he gets his chance in the second row in 12. And the New Zealand international Taweri Nikau, the loose forward, completes the lineup for the Australian Castleford coach, Darryl van der Velde. Hull's only win in 5 games came against Widnes on Sky 2 weeks ago. They're aiming today to prevent a Castleford league double, having lost 34 points to 6 against Castleford in September at Weldon Road. A bright and breezy sunny day up here on Humberside. It is bitterly cold out there on the field, though. The wind will be a big problem for both sides. And Castleford, the opposition today, they really have always had to catch up the rest in the Big League following defeats by Widnes and Salford in the opening weeks of the season. And their big problem recently has been scoring tries. They've managed just 13 in their last 6 matches. Confirmation of the substitutes for you. Hull have Andy Dearlove and Anthony Chico Jackson on the bench. For Castleford, it's David Nelson and Dean Sampson. Danny Dive, the Frenchman, made his Hull debut against Widnes as a substitute on Sky 2 weeks ago. full debut against Hull Kingston Rovers in midweek. A month's trial from the Carcassonne club, hoping to get a contract next season. And the new man, Scott Sullivan, 19-year-old winger, debut against Rovers in midweek. Played in the Yorkshire Academy team last season. Another youngster getting his chance here under Roy Simmons at the Boulevard. He comes in for Matt Donkin, who has just given a rest. He's a bit worn out, according to the Hull coach at the moment. Needs to regain a bit of confidence in the 18. And Andy Fisher is Castleford's new signing. He swapped clubs with Neil Roebuck, came to Castleford from Featherstone. 101 appearances for Featherstone, 26 tries. A fiery character. He was sent off 3 times last season. Graham Southernwood gets only his second game of the season, his first since September. Paul Eastwood gets this game underway then. All the action exclusively from the Boulevard on Sunday night's Big League. Castleford aiming to close the gap on the leaders at the top of the table. And the match referee travelled over here from Wigan, Ian Ollerton. He will be 40 years old in March. Long ball downfield, bouncing into the arms of fullback Richard Gay for Hull. Big match for both these sides, Mike. Top 8 Premiership in mind. They both want to be at Old Trafford in May.
Desperate for these 2 points, aren't they? But that was a great kick there by Mike Ford. Just shows you how strong this wind is. It'll be to Castleford's advantage in the first 40, and a bad mistake by Hull.
Yes, McNamara dropped the ball. Castleford scooped it up, and immediately Hull caught offside.
Prop forward Andy Dannett and Mark Jones. They can see making no attempt at a choice of 4 there. The referee Ian Ollerton. It's
a penalty then to Castleford. And with this very strong wind at his back, Crooks, understandably, from that range, some 30 metres, is going to have a shot at goal here. Danny Dive has had a bang very early on here. The Frenchman with the Australian accent, just having a touch of treatment on an arm injury by the looks of things. Meanwhile, it's down to Lee Crooks to add to that total. 70 goals so far this season. He has Graham Southernwood just holding on to the top of the ball. But it's almost bang in front here. And if Crooks sets his sights correctly, Castleford could be off to a 2-point start. He's pulled it. Pulled to the left of the uprights as he watched. 0-0 it stays.
He'll be disappointed there, Lee Crooks. Desperate to get as many points early as possible. He realises that the kicking game will come into force. It's such a strong wind. Always a bit of a problem, though, when someone's holding the ball for you.
Not bad length on that drop out from his own quarter line by Paul Eastwood. This is now Simon Middleton for Castleford. Fullback Graham Steadman comes into dummy half and sets off on a little run on his own. Brought to ground by Andy Dannett and Russ Walker. Southernwood to Crooks. Crooks puts a short ball into Smith, but the referee rightly penalises Castleford for obstruction.
Well, Crooks was pulling through there, trying to bring Southernwood across, but it was a centre Tony Smith. You see Tony Smith going front there. Impeded the man, rightly give you the penalty.
So Hull in possession, and this is Mark Jones. Referee's whistle sounds again. Head high tackle this time. Penalty to Hull. Scrappy start.
Well, Andy Fisher getting involved there very early, going above the shoulders. Well, he's pretty keen as the referee, Mr. Ollerton.
It's been a bit of a stop-start opening to this match. What can Hull do here? Dive taking the ball to the quarter line. Jackson finds Dannett. They decide to come this way with Russ Walker. Jackson takes over again. Almost through then, but St John-Ellis picks up the pieces.
Well, they tried to work the blindside move there, but really, the pass to McNamara, he'd overrun it to have the loose forward. Really wasn't on there. Lee Jackson would have perhaps been better to hang on to the ball. Just a bit of misunderstanding amongst the Hull forwards then.
Richie Blackmore just limps away from that play of the ball. He will need some treatment to a knee injury. Meanwhile, Nickau has it for Castleford. Now it's with Southernwood. The ball laid back to Graham Steadman. Left-footed downfield from Steadman. Good length on that kick with the wind behind him. Bouncing all the way. That's a great kick in these conditions. Played for the win, didn't he?
Yes, did the right thing. Long pass from dummy half as well. Ensure that there was no pressure going to be applied to Steadman. It just showed you the quality of this wind to the Castleford's advantage. There's Richie Blackmore. Doesn't look too good, does he?
Limping away from the treatment. Playing on the wing today. St John-Ellis has been pushed inside to centre. And Blackmore obviously has a problem. Maybe they'll give him time to run it off. Another referee's whistle. Another penalty to Hull.
Well, he's a bit of a keen boy, this second row, and Andy Fisher. Mark Jones having a little look at the referee, saying, surely, sir, that was a little bit too rough. The referee agreed. Well, as you say, Eddie, stop-start affair so far. Referee certainly stamping his authority on the game.
4 penalties in the opening 6 minutes of this match, so we haven't got any pattern at all as yet. Both sides taking time to settle down. Here's Dive again, watched by Morrison. Southernwood and Nickau combining to bring him down. That's the scrum half Rob Nolan feeding that ball out to the far side. And it's James Grant who had it. This now is Steve McNamara, shoulder to shoulder with Morrison. Dannett was the decoy runner, the ball eventually finding its way out to Paul Eastwood. He hoists a high kick and it comes right back in the wind. Indecision in the Castleford defence. Steadman allowed it to bounce and then was collared by Eastwood, who moved up and played everyone on side.
Excellent play by the Great Britain winger there, Paul Eastwood. Gave it plenty of height, caused a lot of problems for Steadman, who'd allowed it to bounce.
Lee Crooks now, Castleford's captain, former Hull player, of course, £150,000 buy by Leeds from here, and then figured later on in another £150,000 move to Castleford. This is Richard Gay, full-back for Hull, picking up pace.
Great positioning there by the whole full-back Richard Gay. He realises that this is a strong wind, and of course he was stood all the way back. A lot better to run on towards the football than go backwards for it.
Dannett did well to keep hold of that. He was immediately under pressure from Morrison when he received the pass. This now is McNamara. McNamara, 4-match ban. He returned for the match against Hull Kingston Rovers in midweek. Mark Jones. Good straight run from the big Welshman. Now the ball with Gale. Little chip over the top from Gale, and it just bounces in the field of play. Good kick.
Nice thinking by the Australian there. Just lobbed it over the top. Inch perfect. Put a lot of pressure on Castleford. Realising that if he gets plenty of air to this one, that the wind will just hold it back.
So Mike Ford trying to run the ball out from the danger zone as far as Castleford are concerned. This is Fisher now. And Southernwood. The referee taking Hull back the 10 yards at the play of the ball, but Hull very quick to move up. They really are quick to get through to the man in possession with the ball. Walker there was putting pressure on Steadman, and that went out on the full. That time the fullback didn't judge the wind quite properly.
Well, it's an enormous kick, isn't it? Creates a lot of problems. The pressure is well and truly on now. Scrum down.
Yes, the referee indicating that the kick was on the 4th tackle, so no suggestion at all that there would be an automatic turnover in possession there. Two sides scrum, and Gale has it. Nolan. 2 Nolans on the field today. That was Rob Nolan, the scrum half. There he is again. The other is his elder brother Gary, who's wearing 3 in the centres. And Lee Jackson makes a meal of that.
Bad mistake there. Really a lack of concentration. And the former Great Britain hooker, he won't be happy.
Hull with 4 players missing because of injury or suspension. The latest one, Ivan Henjak, yesterday at the last session of the training. Here yesterday morning, pulled a hamstring. Roy Simmons talking to him before the match, cursing his luck. 10 minutes of this game gone. Hull 0, Castleford 0. Tawera Nicow. This is out Mike Ford. Suggestion there that perhaps Nicow used Ford as a decoy, and might have been obstruction, but Ollerton lets play go on.
The Hull defence very quick. They really are moving out wide, so they're not allowing Castleford much room to move.
Here's St John playing in the centres, gets a good ball away to Mike Ford. Mike Ford, he had Richie Blackmore in support there with him, but I think he knew that Blackmore still feeling the effects of that knee injury. Now he's got the ball out though, has Blackmore to Ellis. And that was the last tackle. And it's the turnover.
Well, they just lost their way a little bit there. Playing the ball far too quickly before they had a chance to set up there. Good break though by St John Ellis.
Dannett now with the run. Lee Jackson, the dummy half, releases the ball to Scott Gale. That's good play from Jackson. Gale able to take it to himself because there was no marker in front of him. Jackson following up in support. Last tackle for Hull. McNamara to Gale. Gale Grubber kicks it forward, and he was flattened as he kicked that as well.
Took a bad knock there to Gale. Second row, Tony Morrison coming in quite heavy. Perhaps he committed himself. 50-50 anyway. He gets away with it. That was better play by Hull. I think that would have told him a few lessons there, that there is yardage to be made from the dummy half position.
Nicow, just a little dummy that Mark Jones didn't take any notice of. Southernwood to Mike Ford. Hauled down by the collar by Lee Jackson. Back to Steadman. High kick, that will catch the wind and move forward considerably, and does. Oh, and Richard Gay spills it. The ball is with Middleton, that's a try. Simon Middleton, first try for Castleford. Steadman's high kick caused some consternation for Richard Gay. It really did get caught in the wind. Gay spilled it, and Middleton picked up and touched down.
Stone's bit of championship replay. You'll see the whole full back do everything right. He positioned himself well, forgot about the one basic principle, and that was to catch the damn thing. And there was Simon Middleton taking the chance. Beautiful kick here by Steadman. There you can see the position is right, moving towards the ball, but I'm afraid the execution wasn't what he wanted, and that is a soft try. Won't be happy with that. The fullback Richard Gay really should have taken that.
Graham Steadman with the bomb. Richard Gay could not defuse it, and Simon Middleton, the man who scored the try, he is really having a great season scoring. That's his 14th of the current campaign. The second try against Hull this season. Scored a try against them in September. So again, Southernwood comes in to hold the ball steady as Crooks takes aim at this conversion. Simon Middleton playing on the wing now. He did deputise for Graham Steadman at full-back when the Great Britain international was out injured earlier this season. Lee Crooks then with the conversion attempt. And he just drifted in on the wind. No, he hits the post and it just bounces the wrong side. So 4-0 for Castleford and almost a quarter of an hour of this match gone.
Well, you can see Richard Gay here really has plenty of space. He's running towards the ball, but the wind takes it a little bit too far. Really should have taken that. He'd certainly know that was a bad mistake.
So a quarter of an hour of this match gone, and Castleford ahead by 4 points to 0, courtesy of that Middleton try. Really, when Steadman hoisted that bomb, Mike, it almost went vertically straight up, but the wind carried it straight at Richard Gay and away from him.
Yeah, it just caught him on the hop. We just mentioned the fact that he was in a pretty good position there, but just realised that the wind was taking it away at the last minute. But as a talented footballer, Richard Gay, he'll be eager to get back into the swing of things and make amends.
This is Crooks. Should be quite a confrontation between Lee Crooks and Andy Dannett, the two giants there, locking horns. This is Nickow. Nickow taking it to himself. Good thinking by the New Zealander. And that's almost a decent ball from the prop forward, Martin Kettridge, but it went forward, so knock-on is the decision.
Well, the idea was there. Kettridge could see the support play. There's a hooker, Graham Southernwood, was shouting for it. Just too many arms there from Hull to interfere with the pass.
And over on the far side of the field, I noticed that David Nelson has crept onto the field in place of Richie Blackmore, who has gone off injured. Nelson, formerly with Sheffield Eagles, only 4 starts this season. He had a hernia operation early on. There's Nelson on the field, Blackmore off injured. Gale with the kick downfield, again the wind causing problems. It floats out on the full.
Bad mistake there by the Australian Scott Gale. Must realise by now that it's a very strong wind.
This is Kettridge again, playing prop forward. He's moved into the front row to accommodate Andy Fisher, the new man. Mike Ford finds Nickow, who spots the runner Tony Smith, and he was well picked up there by Nolan. Castleford trying to keep this ball alive. Fisher, quick hands to St John Ellis. Now David Nelson. And the youngster Scott Sullivan not having the strength to bring him down. Needed a bit of assistance and got it from Dive. Coyne to Ford. Last tackle for Castleford.
Good play by Nelson there. He kept the man off him.
Little chip over the top by Steadman. Straight down the throat of Scott Gale.
Well, the crowd not too happy. They thought that David Nelson was miles offside. I have a tendency to agree with them.
Here's Sullivan. And Mark Jones is the runner. Whoa, straight into Tony Morrison. The statistic for possession tells its own story. And Castleford ahead 4-0 on the scoreboard. That's the last one for Hull. Still deep in their own half. Gale will try and kick it away, but Ford got a touch to that and Crooks couldn't control it. It was coming over his head and he went for it but missed.
That was hard lines, really. That was good work by Mike Ford. Put a lot of pressure on Gale, who was taking a lot of time to get that kick away. But Mike Ford, the England scrum half against Wales last year, picked it out very well.
This now is Gale. He almost through the gap. Nicow watching him like a hawk. Dive. Swinging arm from Nicow. Holleton lets him go on. This is Rob Nolan. Now Dannett. Oh, he's walking all over the top of Kettridge there. Big Andy Dannett. It's Rob Nolan's ball to Gale. Now Gary Nolan.
That was very slow link then. Took far too long to get that ball out wide. If they're going to try to surprise Castleford in the centre area, they've got to skim that ball a little bit quicker from the dummy half position.
Jackson back to Gale. Just sidesteps Mike Ford. Nice little kick over the top. That's invented from Gale. Ball out to Eastwood. Oh, he just couldn't keep hold of it. The Great Britain winger, I think, thought he was scoring a try then before the ball reached him.
What a miss. Wonderful play by Gale. Look how the man, really at his best. That's what made him famous in Australia. But as you mentioned, Eddie, I think that Paul Eastwood was celebrating and getting ready for the conversion rather than making sure to get over the line. Lack of concentration. It's the second time we've seen that this weekend.
Yes, Hull blown the chance there of levelling the scores. Castleford lead 4-0. And the ball was stolen from the grasp of Lee Crooks, so it's a penalty to Castleford. The Hull supporters don't agree.
Well, not only that, it's very surprising. It's on the blind side there. The referee looked to the blind side touch judge, who obviously saw more, and the touch judge that probably did see it all.
It allows Castleford to make a bit more ground into that Hull half of the field. And Graham Southernwood will restart. Feeds Kettridge. Kettridge met face to face by Russ Walker and Gary Nolan. Oh, juggling with it. Oh, they managed to keep hold of it and get it away, and then Morrison spilled it.
Well, one juggling act, but the second one didn't come off. Morrison couldn't hang on to that.
Danny Dive's been running strongly in the opening quarter of this match. The full second row forward for Hull. Desperate to play in England next season. Goes back to Carcassonne at the end of this month. Nolan to Gay. It's Rob Nolan, the scrum half. Richard Gay, the full back. The ball's come free, and Taweri Nicow stole the ball this time. The face of innocence.
I don't think there's much doubt about that. You can see that the left arm of Nicow dragging the ball back right in front of the referee. Mr. Ollerton not having to look towards his touch judge this time. But really the whole tactics have disappointed me so far, Eddie. They're trying to get the ball out wide, but it's far too slow. It's got to be a little bit more zippier than that. They're just playing into the hands of this Castleford defence. They're quite happy to move out, take them down. They're losing ground all the time.
Hull restart then. Scott Gale. The runner was James Grant. Dummy half was Gary Nolan. Andy Dannett not able to make too much progress. Now Gale. He really is the man that Hull look to produce the goods, produce something different, something a bit inventive. Can Lee Jackson do just that here? Well, it looked like he might have been pulled down there. Yes, the referee agrees. A shoulder was used to impede Jackson as he chased his own kick ahead. Penalty under the sticks.
Good thinking by the hooker there. No doubt about it. Kettridge put the shoulder. It's whether he actually moved first. Lee Crooks saying that he doesn't have to get out of the way, which is perfectly true. But the referee suggesting that that man, Jackson, was impeded by Kettridge, deeming that Kettridge must have moved across his passage.
No suggestion here, Mike, that perhaps it, you know, look at the big gap there near the posts. Penalty try, perhaps?
Well, I think that you could see that the hooker Lee Jackson was on the ground. Don't worry, Jackson worked it, didn't he? Good play, though, by the hooker. He comes through, and you see a bit of the old, oh, yes, I'll get an Oscar for that one. No, never any doubt as far as I'm concerned. Still, he built it well. Kettridge did move, as you can see in the replay. Should be a gift 2 points.
But typically, Paul Eastwood is certainly not taking any chances with this penalty attempt. As you can see, right on the 10-metre mark, bang in front of the posts. This laboured style of his that upset the Aussies in Melbourne, upset us here 2 weeks ago, and will upset Castleford because he's got the 2 points. Hull 2, Castleford 4. Well, Hull's only win in 5 came on Sky 2 weeks ago against Widnes here. And of course, Hull's season effectively has come to a bit of an abrupt halt after they were beaten in the preliminary round of the Challenge Cup last weekend by Wigan, 40 points to 2. Realistically now, all they have to aim for the Premiership, and it's a shame that a big club like this finds itself almost in the wilderness before we're out of January, Mike.
Well, it isn't as though they've been playing excellent football throughout. But really, this is the reason why they're desperate for these 2 points today.
Gale with the kick ahead on the last tackle. Steadman picks it up. And then it's a combination of the Nolans, Gary Nolan and Rob Nolan, who bring him down. Crooks is the runner. Breaks through, but couldn't get the ball away. Southernwood back to Mike Ford. And Jackson read that. He cut Ford's options down there. Jackson looking to spread the... Ford looking to spread the ball wide, and Jackson moved up to stop him. Not the best pass in the world from Southernwood. Nelson traps it on his knee almost, and then picks it up. And we're back where we started.
Well, it's a bit of a scrappy affair from both sides. Really, the team that wants to take control will win this game, that I've no doubt. But at the moment, neither side really have got into their game plan.
Now then, that I think touched a Hull arm. I wonder whether the referee will give them 6 more here. Coyne with a little chip forward. Gay making a bit of a meal of that. And then, well, what's the referee's decision here? I think he said that Gay was tackled and he was in the field of play.
Well, he was. He was tackled first by the first man. It was only the second man that came in, and in fact, wouldn't have surprised me if the referee would have given a penalty there. That's the first tackle. He's held there. Then the second one comes in. If that's not flopping, I'll stand hanging.
This is Rob Nolan for Hull. Now Andy Dannett, met by Nickow. Last tackle for Hull. Scott Gale. And Scott Gale was flattened by Taweri Nickow as he kicked that ball, and the touch judges from both sides are on.
Did a lot of pain. You'll see on the replay. The shoulder charge, it wasn't high. It was just the impact, but perhaps Scott Gale, after just getting the kick away, would just be relaxing. Pretty difficult to say that whether Tawera Nickow had committed himself, perhaps just a little bit too late. It wasn't dirty at all. It was just a shoulder charge. You'll see quite clearly. Yeah, it's just a little bit too late there. that nothing above the shoulders. Just taking a little bit of a wind out there. And Tawira Nikau takes a little rest.
Yes, he's in the sin bin. Nikau for the late challenge. Flattens Scott Gale, and so Castleford have the next 10 minutes to face, down to 12 men. Well, that's got the crowd going.
I still feel Hull would do better to though. Start running from dummy half.
McNamara. A good job that Morrison was there. This is Lee Jackson trying to get away at dummy half. Now it's with Russ Walker. Hull are 10 metres short. That's Rob Nolan. It's the ball in field to Dannett. Dannett dragging Hull towards those Castleford posts. Half an hour gone. 4-2 Castleford lead. Gale fully recovered. Nice reverse pass to Rob Nolan. Jackson waiting. Hull lined up either side. Gale. Good tackling from Ford. Bit of help from Morrison. And Crooks was in there too. This is the last tackle for Hull. Last roll of the dice in this set of 6. Jackson. Nolan. Oh, and they tried to get Eastwood in and they cocked it up to Middleton, and Middleton can move. He's quicker than Mark Jones. But is he quicker than this fellow James Grant? No, he isn't. Good play from both sides. Coyne as Castleford spring from defence to attack.
Bad mistake there by Hull, right on the Castleford line. But what a great cover tackle by the Australian James Grant. Really mowed him down then.
Castleford coming forward though. There's James Grant. It was an excellent run. Chased back. This now is Kettridge. It's starting to warm up at last. It's taken half an hour for each side to sort each other out. Now here we go. Ford's little grubber kick ahead. Picked up by Nolan. Gary Nolan, the centre. And here's McNamara.
Good play by the centre, Gary Nolan there. A lot of players would have just stood away from it, hoping that that ball would have gone to touch. But he really pounced on that ball that was charged off. It was a kick from Mike Ford. Was play on, good refereeing.
Good play from Jackson. Finds Mark Jones. Now McNamara. It was a crunching challenge on him from Lee Crooks. 1992 British Lions tourists together. Gale will kick downfield and will not find touch. It just took a little spin back into the field of play. And Dannett and Paul Eastwood bring Stedman down. Oh, and a mistake from Tony Smith. Well, it's riddled with errors, this one, isn't it?
My word, you could see Tony Smith there. He looked up just before the play of the ball. The intention was he was going to run on his own. He was looking to where he was going to run rather than concentrate fully on picking that ball up. So that's what Hull was looking for. Intelligent kick. Kept the ball low, hoping that Castleford would make the mistake, and they did.
Andy Dannett has been replaced by Roy Simmons. It's Anthony Chico Jackson who is on. But that looked like obstruction. The referee agrees.
You can see the little halfback there, Rob Nolan. You see him use a man running across. Not allowed to do that. He brought the fullback Richard Gay right across him. If he runs across the line of a defender going towards a man with a ball, then the referee has every right to penalise him.
Jackson is on then in 15. Andy Dannett is taking a breather on the bench. And don't forget, of course, Castleford still down to 12 men. Nikau is in the sin bin. And he has around 6 minutes or thereabouts to serve before coming back on.
Well, Castleford
10 handling errors, Mike.
Yes, it's to be expected. It's pretty cold out there and it is windy and tricky. But really Hull, Castleford haven't really taken advantage of this strong wind.
No, they've only really used it once. That might have been a touch forward. Middleton isn't arguing, though. He's given it to Ford. Ford gets it to Coyne. And the 12 men have scored the second try. Referee Ian Ollerton in no doubt, vigorously shaking his head. Middleton with the break, carried on by Ford and completed by Coyne.
Stones Bit of Championship replay. They worked the blind. It was Coyne that did it, pulled it through, but that pass to me looked forward to Simon Middleton. Good support play there by Mike Ford. The cover comes in. Gay has to go take Ford. Spins out wide, and the momentum of this man, the Australian standoff, Peter Coyne. Good support play there by Ford, also by Coyne, the man that called the move on the blind side. Whoa, did he get it down, really? Was the ball grounded before, and was it actually placed over the try line? Bit of controversy there.
It looked questionable, didn't it? Here it is again. Take it frame by frame.
Well, he hits the ground there. Momentum takes him over, and I think he loses control of it before the ball reaches the line. Whoa, that's 50-50. Pretty hard to see there.
Well, he's credited with his first try in the big league, his second of the season. Man from St George, played in the grand final, boarded the plane, came over here. Second spell in this country, played for Halifax in 1988-89 season, did Peter Coyne. And Lee Crooks, hoping to improve that goal-kicking record here with this conversion attempt. Hasn't found the target yet. Swings the right foot at it, and it just creeps the right side of the post this time. His first successful kick. Hull 2, Castleford 10.
Well, you can see what it comes if you take it on the blind side. You'll see that Paul Eastwood there is having to be sucked in. Now let's see whether that's forward. Looks it to me, doesn't it? But maybe the referee was obscured by the players. Either way, the 4 points is going to be given. There's Coyne being tackled short. Very doubtful, that one. But it's in the papers.
McNamara's been having some treatment while that conversion attempt was creeping its way over the crossbar by Lee Crooks. As a matter of fact, if you noticed that replay of the try, the referee Ian Ollerton, Mike, perfectly placed to make his decision, and he was in no doubt at all.
No, he thought that the ball had actually been grounded by the arm of Coyne, even though he's been brought forward over the in-goal area. It's pretty hard to decide. It was difficult for us with the slow motion, so let's be fair. Let's give the referee the benefit of the doubt. Either way, it's 4 points.
High tackle by Steve McNamara. And it's the hooker. Well, there it was, Graham Southernwood, who felt the full force of that. Cuffed round the ear.
The intent was there. There you can see referee Ian Ollerton, already with a whistle in his mouth. He wasn't too happy with it. And at one point there, I thought that Mr. Ollerton was searching for the yellow card. It's obviously the youngster Steve McNamara, with a finger in the eye. Very painful.
Oh, there's a touch of blood there too. It is painful. The man who made his test debut right here at the Boulevard last March. Well, he's fit enough to carry on. And Lee Crooks is going to have a shot at the penalty here. He's right on halfway. That's the halfway line that he's standing on. It's going to be quite a kick, this. I know he's got the wind behind him. But that's the distance, and that's the angle he has. He fancies his chances. We've said, didn't we, Mike, that Castleford have hardly used this strong wind that has been at their backs throughout this first half. Perhaps Lee Crooks has heard us. Look at the distance on this one. What a kick this will be if he gets it.
Well, he is a powerful kicker. We've seen that so often in the past. Look at the concentration.
And of course, it just ticks away a few more valuable seconds while Nickau is still in the sin bin. Here he comes, though. He's given it the height. Oh, and he hits the bar. Well, inches away from being absolutely perfect, Lee Crooks. And Toeri Nickau comes back on, and Hull have coughed it up again. And this is St. John Ellis. Nickau back after his spell in the sin bin.
What a mistake there by the international Jackson, the hooker. Was that being reefed out? Yes, a penalty is given. Danny Deve is the man deemed to be interfering. It was Russ Walker also involved in the tackle. Really does cause a lot of problem, this rule. Some of the players try to release it at the same time as the would-be tacklers are interfering with them. Very difficult for a referee at any level.
Well, it's given Lee Crooks the chance as we approach half-time to add an extra 2. This time he's just 20 metres out. And he hit the bar from the halfway line just seconds ago. So if law of averages is anything to go by, this one should sail over. .25% success rate so far. He's missed it. Accuracy was wanting there. So 1 minute of stoppage time played in this first half. And so the scoreline remains at 10 to Castleford and 2 to Hull.
Well, the Boulevarders will breathe a sigh of relief there. That should have been a gift, 2 points to Castleford. But I think both coaches will have plenty to say to their charges at the half-time break. Too many mistakes, not really keeping hold of this possession for any length of time.
The wind again causing a problem there for Coyne. It just didn't come onto him, did it? It was swept downfield, really, by the wind that, remember, is at Castleford's back. It never reached him. Although he did get a fingertip to it, because it's a knock-on.
Well, that's the problem with in a windy day, is that when you stood still receiving a ball, I always maintain it's better to have a little bit of momentum.
Here comes Mark Jones again. Vaughan using his feet to get away from the clutches of Morrison. That's the half-time siren, though, and it must be said, not the most classic 40 minutes of rugby league that we've seen on Sky this season. Castleford ahead, though, by 10 points to 2. Lee Crooks will be ruining the fact that he's missed so many goal-kicking attempts, but Castleford still hold advantage at the break. Half-time at the Boulevard. Hull 2, Castleford 10. 2 tries for Castleford after the recent barren spell, only 13 in the last 6 matches. Team tackles 65 to 71 in Castleford's favour. Scrums overwhelmingly to Hull. Penalties just about level pegging, and handling errors, well, Hull have made more. And Danny Deve, the second row forward of Hull, waiting as Lee Crooks gets this second half underway. Hull, I'm told, happy the way things went in that first half. Well, they failed to score a try in their last 2 matches, and a half now, and they were nilled for the first time in almost 5 years on Wednesday against Hull Kingston Rovers. And Castleford, they are in the driving seat here, looking for their first win in 5 matches, having seen Championship and Regal Trophy hopes ruined in the past fortnight. It's all about top 8 spots, though, now for these 2. Early mistake from Scott Gale.
Well, that's not what the Hull coach Roy Simmons would have been wanting at the restart of the second half. Really bad mistake. Puts them under pressure. Not only that, trailing Castleford, but Castleford with a great chance to put extra points on the board.
This is Simon Middleton. And you'll notice there that Castleford have made a change at half-time. Dean Sampson has come on. He has replaced new signing Andy Fisher. This is Graham Steadman. He's taken over by Simon Middleton. Hull having to defend early on. Here's Sampson now. Oh, and he drops it. Well, half-time team talk from the two coaches and little changes. Errors, I'm afraid, from both sides.
Well, it looks as though that Gary Nolan got a left hand in there. Looked obvious to us, but not to the referee.
Hull then trailing by 8 points, in possession with Eastwood. Jackson feeds the ball to Divey. If anyone will roam strongly, it will be Divey. Remember, he's after a contract here at the Boulevard next season, and Mark Jones will always run with vim and vigour.
That's better running there by Hull. At least they're running onto the ball with a lot of vim and vigour.
Gale with the kick downfield, an angled kick, aiming for the touchline, but doesn't find it, only finds Steadman instead. He's got to get away from Russ Walker, and also Gary Nolan could not do that. This now is Simon Middleton. Match this where these two sides, in the depths of winter, with Premiership points to play for, really should be earning their corn, Mike.
Well, it's so important to them now. I know Hull perhaps feel that this is all they've got left, is to get into that top four, and especially the top 8.
Mike Ford with the break. Richard Gay closes him down, brings him down eventually. That was the last tackle. Steadman stabs it forward. Richard Gay picks up. 23-year-old fullback Richard Gay, try at Castleford last season. Now McNamara. Jackson deciding to go on a little run on his own from the dummy half position. McNamara back to Gale. Another kick downfield from the Aussie. That's bouncing, rolling, and it won't go dead. Oh, Steadman's delayed. He could be in trouble here. He is. Oh, Steadman took the gamble. It was going to run dead, and it refused to cross the whitewash.
Oh, great kick, wasn't it, by Scott Gale? And good chasing by Gale there. He's the man that kicked it downfield. Leading by example, not just happy with it, just getting the ball down with a big kick. He was there to do the tackle. That should lift the Hull side. Be a difficult one to drop out from under the post against his strong wind.
Steadman with the dropout. No, he doesn't get any distance on it at all, only to the quarter line. Seized on by Jackson, who then finds Richard Gay. This is a big chance here now for Hull. Mark Jones will run strongly. 2 tackles gone, and they're now 5 metres from the line. In possession with Divey. Lee Jackson. Nolan and Gale. Gale trying to jink and turn inside. 5 minutes of this half gone, as we were at half-time. Nolan again, the scrum half Rob. It's the last tackle. It's been good defence from Castleford. They've got one more to hold out. Gale with the kick across field. Too strong that time.
Just a little bit too much beef on that one. Well read by Simon Middleton, but there really was no chasers.
St. John Ellis for Castleford. Now Graham Sutherwood, and Dean Sampson is the runner.
Well, it certainly would have lifted their spirits with that strong running by the forwards. Certainly wasn't evident in that first half from Hull.
Lee Crooks drops it, but no, it was stolen. The referee has been consistent with these all afternoon. He has penalised every time there's been a hand in there.
Well, everyone but one, but that was quite obvious there. I thought previous, just after the restart, Gary Nolan was a culprit and got away with it, but not that time. But other than that one, you can't fault the referee.
This now is Kettridge. Southernwood bringing Morrison onto it. Southernwood again. Crooks has shouted for that. Ball pops up. Steadman tried to just pat it up into the air and keep the momentum going. Well, just wonder why he's pulled this back. Obviously knock-ons either side here.
Well, it is knock-on either side, but if Hull have come up with a possession, it's surely going to be their feet and head. So why halt the play? It's quite clearly there. Jones was dropped on it.
As you say, Hull would come up with the possession from the scrum, and they have done. And it's the winger, Scott Sullivan, trying to get away from St John Ellis. Russ Walker drives to Wordy Nicow almost into the ground. The tackle finished off by Ellis again. This is Jackson. Jackson turning and twisting, looking for Danny Devey rather, and he was twisting and turning, looking for the supporting runners. They just weren't there. Now Steadman, didn't take any chances with that kick downfield. Eastwood and company bring him down. Eastwood, Chico Jackson, and Gary Nolan. Middleton. Crooks. Really needs somebody, Mike, to stamp their authority on this game, doesn't it? Take it by the scruff of the neck.
Well, I think Castleford are quite content. They've got this nice lead to use the big forwards down the middle.
Here's one of them, Morrison. Little half break, gets the ball away to Tony Smith. Out to the far side to St John Ellis. Pull back, though, forward pass. There was a forward pass in there somewhere, says referee Ian Ollerton.
There you can see the referee, Tony Morrison, blowing up already. Tony Smith was well on his way. But that's the type of running that Castleford would be looking for. Strong drives down the middle, just off the ruck.
Richard Gay. Lee Jackson just turns the ball out wide for Mark Jones. Jackson's there again. This now is Gale. Pick that one up off his bootlaces. Nolan to Devey. Danny Devey running strongly. This is much better. He's got support there too. The ball out to the far side. The youngster Scott Sullivan couldn't hang on to it. Not the best pass in the world, to be fair.
Great run by the French come Australian there, Devey. But Scott Sullivan, you'll see the ball just going behind him. He took the gamble, got it round Nelson. The idea was there. Just unfortunate that the youngster just overran that pass. But a great break by the second rower.
Danny Devey maintaining the French connection that Hull have. Patrick Solal in 1983, Patrick Onta in 1990, and now Danny Devey, 1993.
Well, the Hull forwards have proven to themselves that they can make the breaks. Some strong running there. Mark Jones especially has made it through. Devey made that last break.
Southernwood to Ford, quick hands to Coyne and helped on then to Ellis. David Nelson is out on that far side. Nelson cutting in field. Swarming, scrambling defence from Hull. It's the last one. It's with Steadman. Just punches it underneath the wind and finds touch. Neat kick.
Did everything right. Low trajectory there. Too much height on it. Pushes it well away into the corner. Quite happy to just use the big forwards, as I mentioned before, and the kicking game from that fella, Graham Steadman, hoping that Hull will be pressurised into a mistake.
This is the 30th meeting between these two sides in the First Division. Honours just about even, 14 wins each, 1 draw so far. But a penalty going Hull's way here for holding down in the tackle. The youngster Scott Sullivan, the man being forced back to the ground by Steadman.
Little doubt about it. The youngster had no chance to get up and play that football. And that wasn't the best of kicks there, was it? To say that Hull have the advantage of this very strong wind.
This is Anthony Jackson. Far side of the field, it's Andy Dannett who's warming up to come back on to add his considerable weight to this forward pack of Hull. Lee Jackson to Nolan. Scott Gale. And Dive drops it, knock on. And I don't think he was too pleased and impressed with the pass he received then.
Well, the look said it all, didn't it? You can see that the ball was way behind Dive. Had to reach back for it. Shake of the head. Not too happy. Hasn't been the best of days for the Hull players with their passing. Far too many mistakes.
Dannett has returned to the fray. He's taken the place of Russ Walker. Great Britain international Andy Dannett, 27 years old. Tawera Nickau, the New Zealand international. St John Ellis thundered to the floor by Paul Eastwood. Big hit that by Eastwood. Kettridge.
It was a cracker, wasn't it? Oh, ball and all.
Crooks. Pass to no man's land, but it's 6 to go. It touched a Hull arm on the way back. So 6 more for Castleford here. Coyne. The pass into nowhere. Dean Sampson now. Crooks. Nickau is the runner. Through 1, through 2, gets the ball away to Ellis. Castleford making a few half chances here, but throwing the ball into no man's land at least 3 times in the last set of 6. And what's more, it's 6 to go. So maybe I'm not giving credit to Hull for the fact that they're getting their hand in there.
Yeah, you can see it was Lee Jackson, the hooker. But that was a wasted attempt, really. That was on the last tackle. Would have been better to let the ball go wide and take the tackle in.
There was a poor pass from Coyne. Middleton has to scamper back to pick it up. Wheels away from the first man in, which was James Grant. Can't get away from that tackle from Danny Dive. Now Crooks. Crooks again. Strength of him taking Castleford towards that Hull line.
He's leading by example there, Crooks. Great run.
This is Mike Ford. Now Tony Morrison. Morrison turning and looking for the supporting runners. That's the last tackle. Back to Ford, to Coyne. Good defence, Hull. Weathered that particular storm. 2 sets of 6.
That was well read there by Rob Nolan. You could see that the short pass was going to be coming.
Quarter an hour gone. It's as we were at half-time, 10-2 in Castleford's favour. Here's Dannett. Quite a reception committee for Dannett. Jackson on his own from dummy half. Gay with the shout. asking for it and got it. Crooks and Ford got him. Gale again. Steadman for Castleford. Gets away from Gary Nolan. Couldn't get away from his brother Rob. David Nelson. Only 8 points in it. Hull with this big defensive effort from them. Looking to spring back the other way. Another try and they'll be right back in this. Ford. Coyne, Nelson. Good quick hands. Good run from Nelson. Just ankle tapped at the right moment by Nolan. Mike Ford over the top, inviting St John Ellis to chase it. The youngster Scott Sullivan was there to stuff out the danger.
Nice attacking play there, nice little chip over, but equal to the task as the youngster Scott Sullivan read that exceptionally well.
Under 19 years old, Sullivan, debut midweek in the Humberside derby, keeps his place today. Here's Mark Jones. And Steve McNamara. The tackle wasn't completed by Tawera Nickhouse, so Sampson had to finish McNamara off. This is the last one. Jackson with the kick downfield. Middleton collects it. Good run from Middleton. Second half possession, Castleford 57% to Hull's 43. Interesting, the ball's been in play for 14 of the 17 minutes that we've had so far.
Well, as I mentioned before, Castleford quite content. Just drive down the middle, use the kicking game.
Smith to Ellis. Ellis cutting in field. He's got Gay to beat. Elects instead to go over the top to Nelson. Nelson brings it back towards that line. Again, big ask of the Hull defence. It was a good job that Rob Nolan was there. Coyne was under pressure from Gale. Gale forced the error from Peter Coyne. Good play by the standoff.
Oh, good play by Scott Gale there. You could see that Coyne was looking more towards the player than the football.
Richard Gay, ball dropped though, and it was forward. A decision that Lee Jackson does not agree with.
Well, I don't know whether it's a disagreement of the referee, but the fact that Gay tried to get that ball away in an impossible situation. Two men trying to interfere, ball going forward, frustration more by the hooker. Lee Jackson really hasn't been Hull's day. Everything they've tried seems to have just gone wrong.
Ford feeds the scrum, gets possession back and finds Steadman. Nickow infield to Morrison's. Good run this from Morrison. Good tackling back too by Nolan, by Gary Nolan. Southernwood to Smith, drops it again. Well, the error count is horrendous at the moment, isn't it? Both sides. Gay is hurt.
Yeah, dropped the ball there. Tony Smith coming through, and you'll find that the fullback, as he goes down onto this ball, gets a pair of knees coming through. It's like the hooker, Southernwood. Very painful indeed.
Back of the head. Flat out. So, just over an hour gone. Hull 2 and Castleford 10.
The atmosphere's been electric.
Oh, he's bowled in!
The cricket's been explosive.
Drive, and they're home. They've got it? England have won.
The England Tour of India is underway. The one-day series is level, but now the real test begins. Live and exclusive from Calcutta, ball-by-ball coverage of the first test match.
Joy personified.
The heat is on for Graham Gooch and his men. The first test starts Friday morning at 3:45, only on Sky Sports.
Well, as a mother, I know that skin dryness is very important. I'm always surrounded by children. I love them, whether at home with the twins and Kate or at the mother and toddler groups. I have tried other nappies, but I've always returned to Pampers. They help keep Kate's skin lovely and dry. I held a mother and toddler sing-along group at my house last Thursday. Kate just had a fabulous time watching them. I didn't have the heart to take her away to change her.
Hull 2, Castleford 10, just over an hour of this match gone, 20 minutes remaining. And Richard Gay, despite having extensive treatment after receiving the knees to the back of the head in that previous challenge, has to leave the field. Very groggy indeed. And so Andy Dearlove comes on. And signed in August 1990. He actually scored a try at Castleford in the defeat in September. So Dearlove is on. Richard Gay is off, and major reorganisation now for Hull, now that they've lost their full-back.
Yeah, it's a sad loss for the Hull side. Richard Gay, one of the few players really who could have raced the full length of the field and perhaps bring off the try that they're desperately looking for.
Handling errors, 11 to Hull and 10 to Castleford. Doesn't make pretty reading from the coach's point of view. Still a quarter of this match to go. Grant, the kick downfield, and this one will find touch.
Well, they're using the kicking game to great effect, but I'm afraid they're still allowing Castleford to get back into the Hull half. They've missed some really simple tackles throughout this game. I hasten to add that Hull certainly missing the partner of Scott Gale, Ivan Henjak. They really have missed his organisation skills.
Yes, Henjak pulled a hamstring in training yesterday. Roy Simmons cursing his luck before the match. He said it was in the last set of movements before the players jumped in the bath and went off home for the day. And Henjak, he pulled a hamstring. Such is life when things are going against you, as they are for Hull at the minute. Nickau.
Interesting to see there, Tawira Nickau has been playing more down the middle of the field, and that's woeful play by Castleford.
Stedman, the high kick, underneath it is Scott Gale. Hull will attempt to run the ball straight back at Castleford. The youngster, Sullivan, stopped. Here's Dearlove, the substitute for the concussed Richard Gay. And it's Gary Nolan, incidentally, number 3 there in your picture just briefly, who is playing now at full-back. Dearlove again. McNamara, Jackson. Chico Jackson through one. Sullivan couldn't complete the tackle. Jackson, has he got the strength to go all the way? No, it's good tackling by Stedman. Hull looking for the try here, and the referee's whistle blows. Jackson was being held down in the tackle. Penalty quickly taken by Eastwood.
But why doesn't the referee get the yellow card out? That's a professional foul. Stedman is just holding him back. He's just allowing his side to come back into the defence.
Jackson, the dummy half. Morrison, the tackler. Big chance here for Hull. Dearlove, Gale, long pass from him. Nolan, ball in field to Dive. Dive looking for support, there's nobody there.
Well, a chance went begging. Dive was spun round twice and there was just no support.
Dannett trying to drive his way to the line. Nolan again. Gale, long pass to this near side. It's with James Grant now. turns the ball back looking for Dearlove, instead only finds ground, and then Jackson. Here comes Mark Jones. Jones charging onto that just as he did for Wales against England last year. Gale. Scott Gale! Try, is it? No, referee says he's held up over the line. He didn't get the ball down. No try.
And that's good refereeing, because I didn't think Gale did get it down. See the Castleford player's leg there. Oh, he did well then, did Stedman. Got the knee in the way, and you'll see his other knee come up forward to stop him getting into it. Good play. He got it down after, but the referee called held.
So no try. Graham Stedman, excellent defence.
Well, this should still be the whole feed. Remember, they changed the rule. It's got to be whole feed and head.
But I don't think it is. The ball's with Mike Ford.
Well, they changed the rule this year, unless I'm badly mistaken, which often I am.
But it was Castleford's head and feed, but I think you're right. But it's good hold pressure here for all of that. Crooks with the ball. We will await the letters from people to Boots and All. Let us know whether we're right or wrong about that. Kettridge gets the ball away, but it was in a forward direction. Sampson thought the line was beckoning for him up the other end here.
You can see Kettridge trying to get the ball away to Sampson. Good position by Ollerton, the referee. You can see quite clearly.
So now Hull in possession. Jackson's the dummy half. This is Andy Dannett.
Well, Castleford were only 5 yards back there.
Gale and Dearlove. Felled by Crooks. Gale tried to spread the ball wide on that left-hand side. Keep it alive. The bounce was kind for Dannett. It wasn't so kind then for James Grant. And Simon Middleton was able to pick it up for Castleford.
Well, they're becoming their own worst enemy. Hull tried to keep that ball alive there. It went to ground. The chances, they go are missing.
Hull looking like a side who's struggling. Second half possession has just swung back in their favour, as I say that. But they have failed to score a try in their last 2 matches now, and so far here this afternoon. And only rarely, it must be said, have they looked like breaching this Castleford defence. St John Ellis thunders the ball downfield. And Gary Nolan, the emergency full-back for the concussed Richard Gay, runs it out, halted only by Mike Ford. Dearlove. Dear me. Southernwood, the dummy half for Castleford. This now is Sampson. Nickow was there, but he was impeded, but the ball eventually gets its way out to David Nelson. Castleford looking to wrap it up here. Smith to Ford to Nickow. Last tackle for Castleford. Stedman all the way! Try! Graham Stedman caps a fine day's work for him personally. Defended stoutly at the other end a few moments ago. Now over with the try that, who knows, has clinched this game.
Stones Better Championship replay from the dummy half. You'll see that the fullback who's linked up noticed that the whole defence only had one marker there. That was James Grant, but it was too late. He knows that as a full-back. There you can see just one marker was Graham Grant going across. He still couldn't stop the full-back getting over. Good opportunities try. There's the ball out wide. One of the few times we've seen Nikau run outside. He's been doing a lot of work down the middle. And the quick play of the ball, a little shimmy from the international full-back. Nice try.
Yes, Graham Steadman, his second try of the season. The try here last season too. And he defended well at the other end, getting his knees in to stop Hull grounding the ball a few moments ago. His high kick produced the first try of the match. And he's got over himself now for Castleford's third. Martin Kettridge then. And he too can't put the ball through the posts. Hull 2, Castleford 14.
We see quite clearly, there's James Grant, no second marker at all. It really is a matter of this gap here, and off they go. Good try.
Well, Ross Walker has returned, the second row forward, and I believe it's Steve McNamara who has been taken off by Roy Simmons. The gap now 12 points, 14-2. This is St. John Ellis.
Well, it was a better display by Hull in this second half, but to no avail, really. The opportunities were there, but I'm afraid they've squandered them. And the process will be just the same. Castleford happy to just drive the forwards. No frills football now.
This is Tony Smith. That's a good ball out to the far side. St. John Ellis. Good tackling by Lee Jackson. Castleford look like now they're going to have a real go at wrapping this match up completely. Nelson just ankle tapped.
That was hard line for the substitute Nelson. He's had a big game since he came on. Done a lot of hard work, not only in attack but in defence. Caused a lot of problems to the Hull defence. He'll be happy with his game.
Castleford beat Hull 34-6 in September, on course here then for the big league double. The side never out of the first division since 1973. They've never won the title either. Best season second under Malcolm Reilly in 1977, and last season third, or rather both times third. Third in 77 and third last season. Good run coming in here from the scrum half, Rob Nolan. But the final pass, well, not the best, but Hull can perhaps carry it on here with Gary Nolan. Deal of the dummy half, Scott Gale chips the ball through. Nothing there. Yes, third, the best for Castleford.
That's been Hull's sad story, I'm afraid. Making the break. What do they come away with? Nothing.
Now David Nelson. That's the last one for Castleford. Credit Hull, they're keeping this defensive effort of theirs going right to the end. A good little kick forward by Mike Ford.
Took the opportunity, run away from the dummy half. Of course, with the referees taking him back 10 yards now. There's ample space for a player of that caliber to go take control of a kicking game like that. As you mentioned, Eddie, quite a good effort from Hull, but really, they've just lacked that finishing touch, haven't they?
The kick ahead there was for James Grant to try and pick up, but it was a kick very early in the tackle count. And Roy Simmons, the Hull coach, on the right of your picture there. Don't think he'll have enjoyed what he's seen. He might enjoy this. It's soccer style by Rob Nolan. And St. John Ellis with the knock-on.
Good play by Nolan. St. John Ellis had to get back there. Definitely a knock on. Hard lines from the scrum half, Rob Nolan. He did the right thing, putting boot to ball.
Less than 5 minutes of normal time remaining then. Hull in possession and in the Castleford quarter. Still looking for that elusive try. Almost 3 matches now since they last crossed the whitewash. And that's got to be a penalty. Mike Ford doing the pushing and the shoving, but Scott Gale electing to take a quick tap penalty. That's good play from the Australian standoff. Jackson turns the ball this way to Dealop. Dealop looking to burrow his way over. Castleford hold him out. And again. Good defence, Castleford, right under their own sticks. Jackson just brings it back 2 or 3 paces to give Hull a bit more width on the angle. Well, they can say nothing bad about this Castleford defence today. Harold van der Velde will be well pleased, and if they can hold out here, it'll be a great effort. Mark Jones now. Nick all round him. That's the last one. Not a good ball to Scott Gale. Not a good ball to Dannett, and it was a knock-on anyway. Good effort from Castleford. Yeah, Kettridge and Ford shake hands on the defensive effort.
And why not? They've had a lot to do, this Castleford defence, in this second half. Hull far more possession.
It's St. John Ellis. Danny Dive has worked hard in that second row for Hull. Kettridge, he's got Andy Dannett right in front of him. Dannett completes the tackle. For all the scrappiness of the play, Mike, there will be some tired bodies out there because it's been a big effort from the forwards of both sides.
Well, they both put a lot of effort into it, but really it all comes down to when you can get that class when you need it, and that's what Castleford have produced. The few chances they've had, they've turned them into points. Nice little kick again by Ford, taking it on the blind side. He knows the 2 points, valuable 2 points, they're going Castleford's way.
Yes, for those newcomers to rugby league, the top 8 playoffs at the end of the season. The top 4 guaranteed home matches in the first round. That can be so important with Old Trafford. The end of season jamboree. Oh, and I mean, Chico Jackson taking his eye off the ball. That really, yes, he knows it too. It sums up the day, really.
Very tired legs. Heads are down. That also tells a little story, doesn't it? 27 errors. Yeah, they've just lacked that spark, I'm afraid, of Hull when it's been needed. It's all right to graft and do the hard work, but when those chances come, you've got to produce the skill to finish it off. And that's the difference between the two sides.
Hull just couldn't get hold of Crooks, and he escaped the clutches of 2 or 3 tacklers there. So Castleford finishing with a flourish here from Stedman. Good tackling by Lee Jackson, another one who's worked hard, the Hull hooker. This is Mike Ford. Now it's with Kettridge. Long pass to Nick Howe. And similarly to Simon Middleton. Last tackle.
He'll be quite happy as well, Simon Middleton, the few opportunities that's come his way. He certainly hasn't let the side down.
That up and under from Mike Ford actually almost come back to him. But it's now found its way to St. John Ellis. St. John Ellis, stepping, turning over the top, it goes, forward pass. David Nelson furious that he's been pulled back there. He thought he was in for the try.
Well, the referee was in a good position there. Good jinking run by St. John Ellis. Ball goes out wide. And it was Kettridge that was going to feed the substitute, David Nelson, who thoroughly deserves the try today. He's worked hard.
In stoppage time, and Hull's miserable run continues. It's now 240 minutes, Mike, since they scored a try.
And I'm afraid that the way that they've not had great respect for possession, forcing the pass, shows that it's worrying them really. What a panic football.
This is Andy Dearlove, though. But there's just simply nothing there for Dearlove, and what's more, he drops the ball. It's a knock-on.
And you can't blame the substitute. Andy Dearlove was there to take that possession, run through, did all the hard work to turn and look for the support, and was there any? No.
Mike, it's all well and good, I suppose, doing a lot of hard work in the forwards, but the game today crying out really for a bit of guile and craft and skill from somewhere.
Well, the fact is, Eddie, that when you do, you make the platform and you've got to do it, the chances coming your way. If you don't take them, then you go away with losing money.
Middleton with the run. Tackle again by Lee Jackson. The hooker for Hull's tackled his heart out. This is Dean Sampson, who's in there underneath all that again. It's Jackson once more. Dive took a crack then too. He's just holding his arm, so there's a bit of a gap here for Castleford to exploit. Referee says play on. Morrison gets the ball away to Kettridge. Well, that was a knock-on. There's the full-time siren. It's all over. Castleford have the winning money. They scored all the tries. Hull 2, Castleford 14. Graham Steadman, for me, the man of the match. Created one, scored one, and certainly saved one with a big defensive effort on his own line. Of Castleford's victory, they scored 3 tries to 0. Hull now haven't managed to cross the whitewash for the last 3 matches. Well, afterwards I spoke to Castleford's Graham Steadman, who was our man of the match. Graham, it wasn't a classic, but you go home with winning money, and I suppose that's important.
Yeah, it was deadly important that I went away from Hull this afternoon with the 2 points, and we've come and done a good job, the elements. Obviously, we've played with them in the first half and we've come up with a few points, but not as many as we would have liked. But all credit to the forwards, we've dug in there, and the defence has won us the game today.
Well, the thing is, from a Castleford point of view, your season's gone a little bit sour over the past fortnight, hasn't it? Out of the Regal and out of the Championship race too.
That's right, yeah, we had an excellent December. We did the double on Saints in the league and also in the Regal, and unfortunately Bradford knocked us out in the semis, and we came unstuck against Warrington last week. We have been lacking a little bit in confidence, but I'm sure this put us back on the right track, and it keeps up there with the top 4, and we can go on from strength to strength with this good victory today. And of course Wembley beckons next weekend. You've been there in '92, you want to be back again? Oh yeah, without a doubt, it's every player's dream. I dare say that if we can get it together like we have done today, especially in defence, I think that's the main thing, getting the defence right, and then we'll take it into next week's game at Warrington, and looking forward to it. We'll confirm that Castleford are 3rd in the table shortly, but there are the match facts from this game at the Boulevard, and the handling error count will make horrific reading for the 2 coaches. 16 to Hull and 14 to Castleford. Well, weather-wise, an awful day up here on Humberside. The wind and rain hardly conducive to giving us a game that was full of fast-flowing football. And really, I suppose we must credit both sides, Mike Stevenson, for producing what they did.
Yes, it was always going to be a case of a lot of mistakes, very strong wind, very cold, and very difficult. Both sides had a few injury problems, and that didn't help the cause, especially Hull. I thought that they lost the leadership of Ivan Henjak. They certainly looked a little bit lost. They came out with a little bit more spirit in the second half. The forwards drove in a lot more than what they had shown in the first half. But really, it was a case of Castleford just having the class when it was needed. They took their opportunities, they scored the tries. When you've got a man like Steadman and Ford controlling things, they took their opportunities, and they'll be happy to take those 2 points.
They do, and briefly for Hull, I suppose their season has come to an abrupt halt with the fact that Challenge Cup defeat at Wigan is now behind them. really it's a question for them of just playing out time.
Yes, I think it's a case now that Royce Simmons has to start looking towards the junior players, because there's really nothing to go for. They will be struggling to actually make the top 8 the way that they played today. They've really got to get it sorted out, and it'll be very difficult for them.
Let's wrap up the weekend in the Stones Bitter Championship. Confirmation of Saints' good win on Friday. Castleford's today. Sheffield Eagles 30, Salford 16. Wakefield Trinity 8, Lee 41. Great result for Lee. And Warrington 47, Hull KR 26. Only Castleford and Hull out of the top 8 played today. St Helens, with that victory on Friday, are now three games more than Wigan, but 6 points ahead of them. And that looks like a lot to make up. Down at the bottom, it's getting very interesting indeed. Lee and Hull Kingston Rovers now bracketed on 10 points. None of those clubs really out of danger yet. Second division, Carlisle 12, Huddersfield 28, London Crusaders 6, Featherstone 32, Oldham 28, Rochdale 12, Swinton 37, Bramley 20. Featherstone and Oldham are taking a grip on the promotion race. Featherstone and Oldham, I fancy, will be in the big league next season. Division 3 results. Barrow 0, Hunslet 20, Batley 52, Chorley 7, Doncaster 20, Whitehaven 4, Highfield's match against Keighley postponed, Rydale York 12, Dewsbury 30, and Workington 56, Blackpool 6. That result at the top of the table means that Dewsbury now have opened up a 4-point gap on Rydale York. That's it then for this week. Next week we take a break because it's the Challenge Cup weekend. A fortnight's time we'll have St Helens against Warrington for you on the Friday, and on the Sunday we'll be paying a call at Central Park for Wigan against Bradford Northern.
The Stones Bitter Championship, taking rugby into a different league.